Why do people with less interesting things to say get more attention than you do? You could be the smartest person in the room, but secretly signaling that you're not worth paying attention to. I thought I was just too quiet and shy to be invited into important work conversations, so I mastered my spoken communication. But that only took me so far. It wasn't until I learned the secret science of reading people's body language and mastering my own that I was able to build a multi-million-dollar business and hold the attention of a room filled with SVPs and CEOs. So, if you want to be treated differently, these are the 7 secrets of body language that will change everything. Now, if you're like me, you will find some of these secrets a little upsetting, actually. So know that they're all 100% based on proven data and scientific studies, as in, regardless of what we may want to believe, this is the truth of what your body says about you. The first secret is that your hairstyle controls how you're perceived. A 2012 study found that men with shaved heads were rated as more dominant, more masculine, and stronger leaders than men with fuller hair. So think of Jeff Bezos. And women with longer, looser hair were found to be more likely to receive help from strangers, whether they wanted it or not. Your hairstyle essentially signals 3 things: control, conformity, and energy. How tight or loose your hair is communicates how controlled you are or what kind of energy you are bringing. So when you think about the type of job you are going for overall, a conventional, classic hairstyle is more likely to make people read you as employable. However, when you're going to work with a creative team, a non-conforming appearance like blue hair can go a long way because people perceive you as more creative. Of course, right? Your hairstyle is one of the main body language secrets of how people perceive you. If your audience expects you to be polished, then your hair should look polished. If your audience is expressive, then your hair should look expressive. But there is a really interesting finding here. So a 2014 study showed that a non-conforming appearance, including hair, can actually increase your perceived status. But it only happens when observers believe that your non-conforming hair is intentional and earned. So if you're high status enough, like, Miranda Priestley in The Devil Wears Prada with her ice white hair, her experienced tone and controlled presentation makes that unconventional hair choice read as deliberate authority. So think about what industry you're in, who you surround yourself with, and how you want to be perceived there. If you need to be someone people open up to, you should consider things like the 2009 study that determined a woman's hair looseness increased how approachable they seemed. If you're a woman speaking to a group of female entrepreneurs, a slicked back bun can actually help you read as professional and controlled. But if you're a woman speaking to a group of male 55-year-old billionaires, the science shows that they would not respond the same to that tight hairstyle. And while this is a form of judgment, know that people do make snap decisions about others based on things like hairstyle alone. So take more time in your conversations with your hairstylist. What you do with your hair can actually directly affect your potential for success. Secret number 2 is that your hands determine if you can be trusted. A recent TED Talk revealed that the first thing people notice when they meet someone is their hands. And this is evolutionarily wired into humans because hidden hands are a perceived threat. If I can't see your hands, what are you hiding? Is it a weapon that could hurt or kill me? Now, this sounds just bananas, right? But this is what our brains are wired to think for safety reasons. Watch the opening Copacabana tracking shot in Goodfellas. As Henry Hill walks through the Copa's kitchen and into the main room, his hands are actually never hidden. He's shaking hands, he's passing bills, he's gesturing, he's touching shoulders. The camera follows him for like 3 solid minutes, and his hands are almost never out of the frame. Everyone can rest a little easier. This gangster is not about to shoot the place up. His hands are telling everyone, I'm not hiding anything. I'm an open book. People around you are constantly reading the signals you send with your hands. This is why fidgeting with your hands can project a negative perception because it shows anxiety, shows a lack of authority. And showing your hands signals confidence. So if you want to project the energy that you are trustworthy, that it's safe to be around you, and that you're honest, practice showing your hands early and throughout every conversation, and be aware of what your hands are doing. And this applies even when nobody can see below your waist, like on a Zoom call. Wave when you show up on the call. Show your hands in the frame as you're talking to create safety, to project confidence. Tucking your hands under the desk, crossing your arms, or even holding your phone in front of your chest all create this subtle wall that negatively affects how people see you. The final layer here is matching your gestures to what you're saying. So if you're saying there are two options, hold up two fingers or two open palms. If you're describing growth, your hands should move up. Studies prove it. When your gestures and your words are in sync, it registers to your audience as competence. When they're not, something feels off to the person watching, even if they can't say why. Number 3 is a funny one, but you can and should actually use your feet to take up space. Spread your feet apart and physically take up the space that you're in that you paid for. There's this idea circulating called manspreading, where in a row of 3 seats, the men in the seats on either end, spread out their legs and take up so much space that the woman in the middle seat has to make herself small in that space. You have seen the videos online. I had this happen to me for years, but I recently decided to make a change. So the gentleman sitting next to me on this small, short flight stretched his knee over into the space for my seat. Now, this plane was like a tiny puddle jumper. There was no room for anyone. So why should I give up what little space I have to a person who had no concern for me or my space? Well, I did the same thing. I too manspread because that was my space. I paid for it. And he looked at me and I looked at him and then he said, "Oh, sorry." And I said, "That's okay." But it wasn't dramatic, right? It was just, I had to dig up the courage to hold my own ground. So it felt kind of big to me. This idea is so critical when it comes to body language because the amount of physical space you allow yourself to take up, usually with your feet, is an absolutely clear indication of your authority. What does it say to your brain when you shrink in size, when you shuffle your feet inward instead of standing as boldly as you want to stand? And if you think about what other people think about you when they see you shrink, they are making assumptions about your confidence. There's an entire chapter of the book called Body Language Communication that is devoted to how your posture and the way you stand affects your relationships, both personal and professional. So this idea of your feet taking up physical space is really like a boundary. You have to take up space. It is your nonverbal way of saying, I'm not someone you can tip over. So even on a Zoom call, think about where your feet are positioned. The general consensus is that your feet should be planted on the floor in a stance that would be difficult to topple over. And this goes back to the caveman days of wanting to make sure that you are not easily movable. So try this pose on your next Zoom call and see how much more confident you feel. Next is secret number 4, which is that the way you walk shows your personality before someone ever talks to you. There was a clip that went around on Instagram not too long ago. It was a woman shifting from walking without confidence to entirely projecting confidence without changing her hair, clothes, makeup, face, shoes, setting, anything. At the start, she's walking with her shoulders slightly forward, chin down, fidgeting a bit with her top, looking bashfully around, and her walking pace is a little bit uncertain. In the second half of the video, her chin is parallel to the floor. She has a focused gaze, a controlled small smile, and a confident, even stride. You watch this clip and you want to be the second version. She's the one you'd want to be friends with or work with or hire for your team. And the reason is because the second version projected confidence with the way she walked. Most people walk with their eyes down because they're not sure the ground beneath them is stable. And that's often pretty literal, especially when you're wearing heels on cobblestone streets. But more often, it's psychological. Looking down while you walk is a signal of, not fully sure I belong here yet. Or even worse, in the world of body language, it's don't notice me. And the way you walk may not even be something you have thought about before. If you're an introvert and don't want to be noticed, you may subconsciously walk more like that first version. Now, the same is true if you don't know your pitch. So if you walk into an event and you're afraid someone will ask you a question you can't answer, you will try not to be noticed. So practice articulating your ideas with confidence so that you can confidently march forward. Con artists and salespeople are really great examples of how the way you walk matters. So think of Leonardo DiCaprio's character in Wolf of Wall Street. Confidence is the biggest condition of conning. The word con artist is just short for confidence artist. You probably don't want to be a con artist, but you can see the value in projecting confidence. It carries you a long way in other people's minds. You can 100% fake confidence by how you walk or enter a room. So try these 3 things the next time you walk on the street, into an office, or even around your apartment. Number 1, Pick a theme song. Lots of coaches tell their teams and performers to pretend that they are playing their own personal theme song in their head as they walk to help project confidence. I learned this way back in the 90s on an episode of Ally McBeal, and we see this with baseball players' walk-up songs and WWE wrestlers' entrances. My theme song is, no joke, You Sexy Thing. From the 70s, it feels goofy, but I chose it when I was 17 and it still works to pump me up when I need to manufacture confidence in a room. Number 2, pick the right shoes. Look, you don't have to wear heels to look powerful. If you're stumbling around because you struggle to walk in heels, that is only going to make you appear less confident because you are legitimately worried about falling. So pick a comfortable pair of shoes that make you feel great and allow you to walk the way you want to walk. And number 3, make sure your face matches your walk. So hold people's gazes with good eye contact and have just a subtle smile that makes you look trustworthy. Number 5 is next. Your eyes show all of your feelings. Imagine being in a meeting, standing in front of the room, giving a presentation, and someone looks away, looks down at their phone, checking a message. Or they're looking at their watch to check the time. You're probably not going to feel good seeing that because it makes you feel like what you were saying wasn't interesting enough to keep someone's focus, or people were bored with what you were presenting, couldn't wait for the meeting to be over, and you spiral. Where you look with your eyes is actually a signal of a lot of dismissive behaviors, which you want to avoid. There's also subtle eye expressions, like an eye roll that, can feel obvious to avoid, but most micro expressions our eyes make are often unconscious and can totally give away how someone is feeling without them actually saying anything. One of my favorite scenes is in Homeland, where the character Carrie Matheson is interrogating someone and she holds eye contact past the comfortable point, right along the time where most people would break it. And the person across from her starts to squirm, understandably, without Carrie having to say anything. Now, research calls this intentional authority and consistently shows that steady eye contact breeds as confidence and competence. So try to control what you do with your eyes. Here's what the science says to do. If you want to show you're confident, make consistent eye contact as you're talking with or listening to people. But don't stare for too long. Remember to blink and break your gaze every now and then, but don't blink too rapidly, as doing that can come off as you feeling overwhelmed. Be aware of how your eyes move. When you narrow your eyes, that can come off like you're evaluating someone and you're in control. So this can work great if you're interviewing someone, but if you're on the receiving end of an idea, it can actually come off as skepticism. Also, make sure your eyes match your smile and the rest of your face, as in, take Tyra Banks' advice and be sure to smize or smile with your eyes. Practically speaking, using eye contact to your advantage looks a little different in different settings. In a one-on-one, aim for steady but not fixed. When you want to land a key point in a conversation or presentation, hold eye contact. Then let that eye contact break naturally when you're thinking. And be aware that looking away too often makes you look nervous, so try to avoid that unless your objective is, for some reason, to appear to be nervous. And when you're in a larger room or on stage, do what's called scanning and re-engaging. So this is a speaker's trick. I hold one person's gaze for a beat, then I move to another. This creates the feeling that you're talking to individuals, not broadcasting to a crowd. It makes it actually easier to feel calm on stage too, and it helps the audience members you make eye contact with feel more connected to you, which can lead to higher speaker ratings, actually. Next is body language secret number 6. Your mouth signals power. It's your mouth. Your whole mouth, not just your smile. Now, you might think of Cher in Clueless when she says that you should draw attention to your mouth when you're trying to attract a partner. But the story your mouth is telling others goes way beyond a romance. Studies show that your mouth is very often the biggest driver of likability and perceptions of seriousness. Now, here's the science. A neutral mouth expression reads as authority and restraint, both of which register as competence. An open mouth with a big, full smile reads as warmth, but it can cost you. Too much smiling downgrades your authority. There's a reason you'll see Meghan Markle leaning into a full, wide smile, specifically at moments when she's taking heat in the press. She's typically trying to counter a narrative about being cold or difficult. She's giving up authority in favor of being perceived as warm. And the other piece of your mouth's body language is your jaw, which can give different signals too. So a clenched jaw reads as determination or dominance, but stiff jaw tension reads as aggression or stress. Chronic stiff jaw tension is something I actually noticed on some someone I saw walking down the street on my way here to the studio today. Their jaw was so visibly clenched that even though I had no other information about them, I had clocked that something was a little unsafe, and I casually crossed away from them. Could have been the nicest person, but their body language told me to steer clear. Your mouth and jaw can signal safety or a lack thereof. Now, the research on how the highest rated leaders use their mouths as body language is pretty interesting. It's not constant smiling or a frozen expression that wins every time. It's controlled warmth through a small, neutral smile combined with a softer gaze and less jaw tension. And being able to match your mouth and jaw movements to your environment and audience is actually incredibly important. If you're in an important Zoom call, a sales meeting, performance review, a few smiles and a laugh can build rapport. But know that constant grinning can make you appear as goofy or even unintelligent. If you want to be perceived as intelligent, no matter how wonderful your smile is, pull back a bit. Now, it'll come as no surprise that age, gender, and even socioeconomic status factor very heavily into body language. Depending on the room you're in, you may want to experiment with different ways of intentionally using your body, including your mouth and jaws movements. Don't just let body language happen, take control of it. Let's say you're a new CEO at a company, in this case, a white man over the age of 40, because after all, as of 2026, 88% of Fortune 500 CEO roles are held by Caucasian men. So this is a pretty real life scenario. You go into a room of young creative directors, most of whom are women. To be seen as kind and approachable, not like a scary new CEO, it would be wise to smile more. The same is not true in the board meeting you go into next, though. Well, what if you're not the CEO? Okay, let's say you're one of those female creative directors in this scenario. You want to leave a good first impression and make sure the CEO remembers you well. In this case, to increase your perception of authority in that CEO's mind, you would hold eye contact longer, keep a neutral mouth expression, and keep your smile small, avoiding much laughing, fidgeting, or gazing around, which can read to that CEO as nervousness. Don't let your body accidentally give away a message you do not want to share. If you want to come off as having greater authority, then keep a more neutral mouth. If you want to come off as having greater intelligence, then try a slightly asymmetrical smile. If you want to come off as being warm and you're not worried about perceptions of authority, maybe you are the authority in the room, then a big full smile can actually go a really long way. Finally, secret number 7 is to use your whole body as a mirror. This is probably the culmination of every body language secret, and it's called mirroring. Mirroring is a subconscious or even conscious imitation of gestures, speech patterns, attitudes, or behaviors of another person. This method acts as a social tool to build rapport, empathy, and connection, and you'll usually see mirroring between close friends, like you and your best friend talk the same way, make similar hand movements, tap your nails the same way. You may use mirroring to establish trust, and some people use it for persuasion or manipulation. Mirroring happens a lot when people like you. Their posture, gestures, even their breathing rhythms start to unconsciously sync with yours. And when they don't like you or enjoy the conversation, that synchronization disappears. The interaction feels slightly off, slightly out of step. And this is why some of these moments can feel very awkward. And if you think about some of the best salespeople, the best communicators in the world, they are constantly mirroring by adjusting their pace, their tone, and their body to re-engage the people in the room who may have drifted. They just don't overdo it, because once someone notices that you're actively mirroring them, the exact opposite reaction happens. Science shows they suddenly distrust you. But mirroring someone is not just in the face. Body language researcher Amy Cuddy found that while people are highly conscious of their faces in social situations, the rest of their body can give away how they're really feeling. So even if someone's expression is smiling and agreeable, they're nodding when you nod, they're laughing when you laugh, their feet might be pointed away from you, which can indicate that they have checked out of this conversation. You can also see when someone creates a subtle barrier with their body, like holding a drink or their phone in front of their chest or crossing their arms. These are protective gestures. And while they're not necessarily hostile, like the person isn't giving open body language, you don't want to mirror that back. So the next time you have a conversation, when you meet someone new, pay attention to every part of their body language and if they are mirroring your body's positions. And if you want to practice mirroring, which can be a very helpful tactic in a job interview or just when you're trying to make a good impression, try to casually mirror the body language of whatever person you're speaking to. Keep it easy and chill. When they smile, you smile. When they look you in the eye, you hold that eye contact for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 seconds or longer. When they brush their hair away, you brush your hair away or make a similar gesture. And if they point their feet away from you, subtly shift your body over so that their feet face you now. Now you're aligned again. So those were the 7 secrets of how to read and master body language. If you want to go even deeper on the specifics of verbal communication, check out this video.